Well, good afternoon, everyone. And for the record, my name is Jim Tigges, and I'm the chairman of the Burlington Select Board. On behalf of the Town of Burlington, I'd like to welcome everyone to this very exciting day in our town. I'd like to begin by acknowledging some of Burlington's town officials and staff members who are here today. Fellow Select Member Mike Runyon, Melissa Tentaklis, our Economic Development Director, John Sanchez, our DPW Director, Town Administrator Paul Sagarino, Steve Hildreth from Engineering, Kristen Kasner, our Planning Director, Rachel Leonardo from DPW, Liz Bonventry from Planning, Brenda Rappaport, Planning Board Chair, and I think that's it from the town. All right.
Good job.
We also have our state rep here, who I'll introduce later. And last but not least, we have our Housing and Economic Development Secretary, Mike Kennealy. So all too often, people say that the wheels of government turn slowly. But today is an example of what happens when you combine cooperation with the public and private partnerships. Those wheels then turn faster and with much less friction. The grants we're going to hear about today will help us to continue many of the great things that are happening in Burlington, which include creating new jobs, creating new housing options, improving our infrastructure, and continuing to add to the amenities that make our town what it is. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce Secretary Kennealy.
Well, thank you so much. It is great to be with you all today. Can people hear me okay? This is great, speaking at an active construction site. This is really particularly exciting. It's wonderful to be back here. We had a great visit here back in February of this year, I believe, and really the town's got big, bold plans, and we're happy to be supporting them. And I will say it's just great to be back on the road. I just a couple weeks ago wrapped up 6 days, 12 community tour of affordable housing around the state. We had before that, we did a 25 downtown and small business tour across Massachusetts over the summer and fall weeks. So it's great to be back out in our communities and see what's going on. And now we're in the swing of announcing MassWorks grants and other grants from our economic development program. So nice to be back in our communities. Let me say a word about our MassWorks program. And so this is the largest and the most flexible, and therefore perhaps the most impactful tool in our economic development toolbox. And this year we're making 56 awards of $66 million out of MassWorks. And I always say, MassWorks funds public infrastructure, so roads and streetscapes and lighting and water and sewer and the basic building blocks of development that allow great developments like this to happen. What MassWorks really funds is collaboration at the local level. It lets a city or town come together and say, this project's important for us. This is going to help move forward our development agenda, and will you fund it? And we get to fund those projects, and we'll help move our cities and towns forward. So it's a great program. This year, MassWorks is part of something called the One Stop for Growth. And we did a lot of listening around the state a couple of years ago when I first became secretary, and we got a lot of feedback around our programs. We operate a lot of different programs in the executive office. And part of the feedback was around, is there some way to streamline the process and some way to align these programs differently in a way that we can support our communities in the most efficient way possible? And so what we did this year for the first time was take 10 programs and combine them into a single application and really try to build more collaboration into the process. And so rather than having a city or town chase 10 different grants, all of which had their own applications, their own timetables, their own criteria. It sounds like you're familiar with it. Made sense, right? And so we said, let's put 10 of these together, and let's start the process with what we call an expression of interest, where before we start talking about specific funding opportunities, have a city or town say, look, here's a handful of projects we think are particularly important, and it lets us give feedback. And then the community comes in and applies for funding. And so this year, through all the 10 programs in the One Stop, we're funding 196 projects in 122 communities through a process I think is a fundamentally different and better way to deliver the programming we have. So curious to get feedback from the folks in town, but I think it's working out pretty well so far. This is a really important project. Among all the things we have to get done here in the Commonwealth today, coming out of this pandemic, creating more housing and making investments in our life sciences ecosystem are two of the most important. Here at a unique moment in time in our economy, right? We got to think about our economic competitiveness. We got to think about things like our housing crisis. This is such an important, impactful project for the town and therefore for the state. And so it's really wonderful to see this coming to life. any day we get to see big piles of dirt is a good day in this line of work. So it's really wonderful to see this take off. I will just say we want to do more of what we see here today. And we have a unique opportunity as a state to put to work $5 billion from the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. We're in active dialogue with the legislature on that right now. But the governor's put forward a proposal on how to spend $1.8 billion against housing and economic development objectives, and look forward to continuing the dialogue on that one. It's a really unique opportunity to take a once-in-a-generation amount of money and apply it towards some generational issues and opportunities. So look forward to continuing the work with Rep. Gordon and his colleagues on that one. But it is really great to be with you all today. Am I doing the official announcement now? Are we doing that? Let's do it, right? Why not? All right. So I'm here today to make an award for the Town of Burlington for $1 million out of the MassWorks infrastructure program to support the MWRA Phase 2 connection project and to support this wonderful development here. So congratulations to the town. We'll take a picture with this afterwards, right? All right, very good. But thank you all. Great to see you. And with that, I think I'd bring it back to, there we go. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Secretary. And I think it goes without saying the town of Burlington graciously accepts $1 million from you, from the state. One other person I failed to mention, although not a town employee, a staff member, but an integral part of the town of Burlington, is Rick Park. He's the president of our Chamber of Commerce. All right, now I'd like to introduce our state representative, Ken Gordon.
Thank you, Selectman Tigas. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, Secretary Kennealy. Thank you for coming to Burlington and making that very important announcement. It's so important to our community. You know, we hear a lot about the way that government doesn't work, but today is an example of how government does work and should work. It's a partnership, and it's a partnership between the state and the municipality, the town in our instance, and our businesses. And I remember, it wasn't too long ago, it was a few years ago, that we were sitting around and Kristen was there, Kristen Kazler was there, Rick Parker was there, Bob Buckley from the Chamber, the town was there, Melissa Tentacoulis was there, and we were talking about what we needed to help our town to get to that next level. We were talking about what businesses needed and what residents needed, and the answer was we needed this MWRA hookup. It was brought to town meeting, we got approval, we all worked together, and we all worked together in the same direction, and the result is, among other things, this contribution through the MassWorks grant. And I'm so happy to have been part of that. As the Secretary said, the legislature was able to authorize that funding, and the administration was able to use that money in a way that benefits our communities, our collective communities, and in this case, Burlington. This hookup is going to make such a difference because what we're doing is we're supporting the life sciences business community. And you know, it's good for business, that's true. It just so happens that our business saves lives. It just so happens that our business saves the lives of children and makes the lives better. And in doing so, it's benefiting, not only do we bring in workers to that business, hundreds of workers, but we're also benefiting all of the businesses around us that can do better because we're bringing in people to this community. So it's a tremendous win-win situation. I'm proud to be part of it. I know that we're all proud to be part of it. Thank you for the opportunity to the administration, and thank you to the Select Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken. Now, I'm going to introduce probably one of the busiest people in the town of Burlington. And he wears so many hats. In fact, according to Facebook last night, he now takes care of dead trees in Burlington. But he will, at least with that's what some of the people in town think. But to give us an update or an overview of this project, our DPW Director, John Sanchez.
So I'm going to make my remarks brief. I'm going to start by saying, Mr. Secretary, you probably have one of the funnest jobs to go around giving out millions of dollars to people. Mine is the second funnest job. I get to spend it. So, and with that, you know, a lot of us know what we're doing with the funds from the state as well as the town. I do have a graph here just to show you quickly what it means to us. If this trailer wasn't here, you probably could see our water treatment plant on the other side of the street, which in 2013, we had to actually take down about half the capacity of that plant because of water contamination with 1,4-dioxane at the time. Since then, the town embarked on finding a solution to the water issues in Burlington, both quality and quantity, knowing that that's what provides development to the town. By 2018, town meeting actually approved us to abandon that treatment plant and to move to the MWRA. We've been working hard since 18. By the end of last year, we had actually joined the authority, and at the same time, we actually had completed the first pipeline that you see in green here on Adams Street that is already providing the town with 1 million gallons a day of water from the authority. Now, that water is being wheeled through the system in Lexington, so in other words, we don't have our own line yet. But what these funds will do right now is to actually build what we call Phase 2A, which I believe is in blue over here. And that combined with the help of the Water Resources Authority, who is actually completing another section in light blue on this map, talk about collaboration between all kinds of entities, is going to be able to provide 3.5 million gallons of water a day in town and allow us to take that water treatment plant offline. So these are very, very exciting times for us. This is not only going to allow us to have the water we need, but it's going to open it up for more development, not just in Burlington, but the area, whether it is enhancing Lexington system or also providing water to Bedford, as we've been working with them as well to provide water to them. So the final phase of this big project will be in 2025, so we'll continue to apply for grants. Let me repeat, the next phase will be Phase 2B, and that's actually a line that brings water from Adams Street all the way to Mall Road, and that's actually what's going to allow for full capacity for the town of Burlington and the added capacity needed to expand the system, whether to Bedford or other communities for enhanced economic development. So that's pretty much what I had to say in the 2 minutes I was allotted, so thank you all.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Before I introduce the next speaker, I just want to acknowledge another member of the Select Board here, Joe Morandi. Now, representing the development side of this partnership, I'd like to introduce the president of Nordblom Properties, or Nordblom Company, Todd Nordblom.
All right, well, I'll do my best to speak up, but just holler if it's not loud enough. First of all, it's really good to see people today. I'm extremely thankful that this is not on Zoom. I feel like we've all had our fill of that. And obviously to host this distinguished group next to one of the projects we're most excited about is a great honor. And we share this group's vision for smart and purposeful growth, not only in Burlington, but across the whole state. And what we see in our own holdings is that the MWRA connection has immediate impacts on the properties that we already own and maintain. And then it's in our opinion, really a prerequisite to be attracting these types of life science GMP manufacturing uses on a larger scale to Burlington. And so that's something that we're really excited about and want to continue collaborating with this group on well into the future. So I'll keep it very brief, but it kind of hard to stand here without acknowledging that 65 years ago, my grandfather first started investing in Burlington, and he viewed placemaking as very much an evolution with an emphasis on continuous improvement. And I think that this group is very focused on that continuous improvement part, and one that we embrace being a collaborator in. And as such, the building that we're standing next to, that's hopefully going to be online here in about 18 or 20 months, will be one of the first suburban apartment buildings constructed out of a cold form steel. And we're really doing this of what's the building that we want to own, in 25 or 50 years from now. And that's combined with a very unique and we think purposeful partnership with the town on a specific affordable program to target local seniors, which is a very important cause that we didn't see being serviced as well as we thought that it could be. So in short, we're really happy and love to be contributing to these causes that we think has so much synergy between the public and private constituents, and we really look forward to playing an active role going forward. So thank you.
That wraps up our list of speakers. Just in closing, it's very exciting being a member of the select board in Burlington at this time. We're on the forefront of so many good things happening. The life sciences, we're on the beginning wave of that. Krista, with all your help getting it, the rezoning and the zoning changes, and Melissa, with you and your outreach, it's been phenomenal. It feels great to be, Burlington was once known as the town with the mall. Now I think we're going to be known as the bioscience or the life sciences center of Massachusetts. Some people call it Cambridge with parking, but you know what? We're not Cambridge, we're Burlington, and we're going to keep doing these creative, come up with these creative ideas and do what we need to be a leader in the Commonwealth of Mass. Secretary, I thank you on behalf of the town of Burlington, and I thank everybody for coming out. There are refreshments over here to my left, your right. Please feel free to enjoy, and don't play in the dirt. You might get hurt.